our program today, we have kind of a multiple facet of things. We had a bug program and we have a Youth of the Year presentation. So I'm going to turn it over at this time to Dawn Stanhope for our program. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. So yeah, as Neil just mentioned, we've got a dual program today. We're going to start out by talking a little bit about what's been happening at the Boys and Girls Clubs of Manatee County. And we have with us today our esteemed 2021-2022 Youth of the Year, Miss Yarellis. You're going to hear from her in a moment, and she's going to share her story with you. She's just such a phenomenal young lady, and I know you're going to really enjoy hearing from her. You know, the clubs last year, it was a very interesting year, as it is for all of us, in that we had to kind of move things around a little bit and make some things happen and change some things. And I'm proud to say that after a few weeks of things being kind of shut down and regrouping, that we were able to open our two traditional clubs at the DeSoto Club and Palmetto Club for full days starting in April of 2020 for families of first responders and our healthcare workers, so they could continue to be on the front lines working and their kids had a safe place to be for the entire day. We did not charge a dime for that service, thanks to our community and the support that rallied behind our clubs and our commitment to our community. So that was one facet of what was going on then, but then when we pivoted to summertime program, we knew we had to keep things kind of small in our group sizes and to ensure that kids were as safe as possible, because safety is our first priority at the Boys and Girls Club. If we don't provide a safe environment, then nothing else matters, right? I mean, that's really where we start. So we had small groups of kids that had to stay within their group every day with the same staff members every day, which I will tell you was a bit of a challenge because they grow relationships throughout the whole club. And, you know, for the staff, they wanted to be able to move them around and have art with the art teacher and, you know, STEM programming with the STEM person, but they had to be multifaceted and kind of figure some of those things out along the way. So then when the new school year started, we talked to the superintendent and others in the district to say, how can we help? And what we learned was that there was a concern for middle and high school students whose parents were choosing the option of doing online learning versus being in person, and that they didn't really feel comfortable leaving those middle and high schoolers home alone if parents were back to work. So we set up an e-learning program, of all things, and brought kids into the club so that they could come in the morning, do their schoolwork, have a staff member there to help them if they needed some assistance, mostly from the technology and not from the actual academics, because that's what their engagement with their teachers was all about. And I would tell you that I didn't realize how important that was going to be to some of our families until we started it. We had a young man that was riding a bike to us from 5 miles away every day, and he was going to drop out of school. So really the only reason that he didn't drop out was because he had a place he could come to and get the support he needed and be able to keep working on his classes. And he did go back to school in January full time. So, I mean, that was just one story of many, but it was a challenge because here we are opening full days from April all the way through December. And usually we're after school except for summertime. Summertime's when it fills in and we have full day. So, you know, I'll tell you it was not easy, but we are so proud of our team and of our community for rising to that challenge and to helping us to make these things happen. And, you know, now that we're getting ready for summer and then changes are happening with the CDC guidance, we're keeping an eye on summer camps to see what might happen there. But we are enrolling kids at multiple sites. We'll have our DeSoto and Palmetto clubs open full days, Monday through Friday from 7 a.m. to 6 p.m., charging a very minimal fee to families that choose that option and would like to send them there. And then we have several school-based clubs that are going to be running right alongside with summer school and having opportunities for kids to come Monday through Thursday for a full day program. They're really excited about getting into field trips again. They've missed that tremendously. So they're already asking, where are we going to go this summer? And they're excited to get back out. So, as things move forward, we're moving forward as well, cautiously optimistic about where we're heading and getting everything up and running again. But the resiliency of our kids has just been phenomenal to see. We know that there's a lot of challenges for our kids in our community. There are estimates out there that learning loss from COVID could be anywhere from 6 to 9 months on average. And for kids who live in poverty, it's actually estimated to be almost a year's worth of learning that they're going to need to regain. Now, that may sound really daunting, but I will tell you that if you're providing supportive and positive relationships for kids, whether it's in the school setting, at home, or in after-school programs, kids will thrive. Kids will accelerate learning. They can pick up and go forward like you wouldn't even imagine. And so we're really thrilled to see what those opportunities will be for our kids. We're not looking at as doom and gloom. We're looking at a bit of work that we need to do in the interim, but focusing on those positive relationships, the well-being of our kids, and just meeting them where they're at and saying, what do you need help with? How do we get you that support? Kids that are doing really well, partnering them up with kids that maybe need a little more help. You're going to hear about the bug program in a few minutes, and you're going to just love what we've seen happen with that program. But before we get to that, I would like to ask Ms. Yarellis to come up, our 2021 Youth of the Year, and just share a little bit about her personal story with the clubs, because I think your heart will be touched just as mine was. Yarellis?
Probably noticed that I'm a bit short. I'm gonna have to move myself along over here. I'll get on the stage so you guys can see me too. I hope you guys' day is going well, by the way. For me, I feel like I'm just waking up. But it's okay because today is always going to be good. You can't go back and change the beginning, but you can start where you are and change the ending. This famous quote by C.S. Lewis touched me because I can relate to it. I've been through a lot, but I can't go back and change it. And I've made many mistakes in my life, but that didn't stop me from becoming who I am today. I'm grateful to those who believed in me and the potential I had. And at first, when I came to the Boys and Girls Club, I had just started middle school and moved to the east side of Creighton. I knew absolutely no one. And for me, finding friends has never been difficult, but finding the right friends is always was hard. I didn't find the right friends at the time. In middle school, my attitude and behaviors towards life were negative and contributed to my actions the next school year. I did some things I'm not proud of. I tried marijuana to soothe my stress, but it wasn't a healthy way to deal with it. And after being caught by my mom, I started to question myself and I started to change the way I saw and did things. And that helped me change from having a fixed mindset to a growth mindset, which meant I started to set goals and take action to achieve them. Also, my mom, the club staff, and my peers were contributing factors to me changing how I saw things. They helped me realize that I could be doing so much better instead of putting myself down like I was. Now, I may always seem tired, but the reality is I'm constantly thinking ahead and moving forward. I'm proud of the fact that I look out for others, I speak my piece, I use my knowledge, and I'm socially fun. I always tell my friends about coming to the club and consider myself a spokesperson, a walking eye. I tell them that you get to meet new people and the staff are really nice and supportive. Ultimately, I want to help my peers as much as the club and my mom has helped me. And that brings me to what I'm passionate about, which is helping my peers move forward, not just educationally, but in life. Too many teens nowadays are oblivious to their potential. They stay stuck and ignore the fact that they can keep learning. In Denzel Washington's words, if you fall, fall forward. I encourage people to follow their dreams, even if it's not easy, because nothing is ever easy. I encourage them to keep moving forward, and I tell them to let things in life stop you. Never stop thinking and never stop growing. If you stop, then you might have nothing to motivate you. Don't get stuck in a rut. Make sure you move forward. As you can see, I'm passionate about motivating and inspiring others to follow their dreams and find their potential. I believe it's important to speak my piece because I believe anyone is capable of anything they put their mind to. As Martin Luther King Jr. said, our lives begin to end the day we become silent about the things that matter. I never want to be silenced. Thank you.
Wasn't that amazing? So Yarellis is so inspiring, and she didn't share this with you, but you should know that she's only a sophomore in high school. I mean, typically our youth of the year are juniors or seniors, but she was such a phenomenal candidate that there was no other one that we could name. I mean, she was just that good. And she had to do all of her interviewing online. And we had some judges from Kiwanis as well as other community members that were involved in that. And they had a tough decision, but hearing her, like one of the ladies had said, we were vibing with you, Yarellis. We were vibing. And they were on a computer. So you think about how hard it is to make that kind of a connection with somebody online. And she does it so easily and effortlessly. And we're just so proud of you. And I believe you have a special guest you brought with you as well. So I want to thank your family for being here today, and I know they're really proud of you too. Yeah, thanks again. Appreciate you so much. I'm going to move on and switch gears just a little bit to talk about the BUG program, but I did forget my notes, so hang on one second. I don't want to forget anybody. So BUG, Bring Up Grades. Awesome Kiwanis program. You may recall that our district governor came to us last year at the beginning of the new year and said, we challenge all clubs to find at least one Title I school that you can set up a Bring Up Grades program. And so Sharon and I started talking to some folks. Before we knew it, we had 3 Title I schools that wanted to be involved, all in different levels and capacities of what they were able to do. Of course, COVID put a little challenge into things as far as how we envisioned it and where we ended up. It had to be done virtually. It couldn't be done on site. And so we rolled with it, right? We just figured out, okay, what do we need to do? Well, one of the things that we did at the start of it was to figure out how to put together a fun video for the kids so they could learn about this program without having that volunteer right on site to do that. And I want to thank Miss Karen Carpenter for helping us with that with our good friend, Charles Clapsaddle, because they put together an awesome video. And I'm going to take just a minute to share it with you all because you might learn something just watching what he came up with. So hang on, I'm going to pray the technology gods are working with us.
Braden and Kiwanis proudly presents to you BUG. What's BUG? It is much, much larger than the insects we swat away. BUG stands for Bring Up Grades. BUG is a partnership of Kiwanis volunteers, parents, students, and teachers to support your learning. BUG helps kids set your own SMART goals, and then when you reach those goals, we celebrate your success. What is a SMART goal? The word SMART stands for specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time-bound. When you set your goal, you want to make sure it's something you can achieve. Let's break it down. Specific. Ask yourself, what are the actions I can take this quarter that will help me bring up my grade in whatever subject you choose? For example, you might want to go to bed earlier at night so you're well rested for school and then spend half an hour reading each day instead of watching TV. Measurable. Ask yourself, how will I know that I am doing the things that I have set out to do? Make sure you can track your activities each week to show how you're doing compared to the goal you set for yourself. Attainable. Be careful not to make your goal so big that it will be too hard to get there. For example, you wouldn't want to set a goal that says, I'm going to bring up my D in math to an A this quarter. Instead, you might want to set your goal to bring up your grade from a D to a C instead. Relevant. Make sure your goal relates to something that you can commit to doing. For example, if you say you're going to read for 2 hours each night, is that really something you can commit to doing? Maybe you could set the goal for less time so it will fit into your schedule each day. Time bound. You will want to say how often you will be doing something new. Is it every day? 3 times per week? Set a time so you can be sure to stick with it for the next few months. Now that you know what a SMART goal is, let's talk about how you can work together once you've set your goals. The buddy system. Peer mentoring is an important part of BUG with the goal buddy system. You and your goal buddy will meet weekly to talk about how you're doing towards your goals. If you're having trouble, you can talk with your teacher to get suggestions on what you might be able to do about it. Sometimes your goal may need to change depending on what's happening. That's okay. Keep at it and do your best. The most important thing for being a good goal buddy is to cheer each other on and be encouraging. Your Kiwanis volunteer will also be checking in during the quarter to see how everyone is doing. He or she will answer any questions your teacher may have and provide materials as needed. Also, your Kiwanis volunteer will be planning a special celebration at the end of the quarter to recognize students who have reached their goals. You'll want to work hard so you can be part of this wonderful event. Before you get your packets to begin setting your goal, let's review some ideas that can help you be successful in your BUG efforts. Make a list. Write down the things you need to do, and then cross them off as you finish them. Move before you sit. Take a walk. Do some exercise or stretching. Doing something active before you sit will help your brain when it's time to learn. Before studying, turn off electronics and find a quiet place to do your work. Outside distractions can make it hard to focus. Take a break every 20 or 30 minutes. Get up and stretch. Walk around your house. Grab a glass of water. Recharge so you can focus on your work. Now that you know what BUG is all about, let's get started.
As you can see, this wonderful video that was put together is something that really helps the kids understand what we're talking about with the Bring Up Grades program. It simplifies the process a little bit and breaks it down. I don't know about you, but I'm always trying to reiterate how to use SMART goals in my daily life. So having our kids learn those things early on is really helpful. And this is something that we can use year after year after year, because guess what, folks? This was our first year. We're going to keep it going. We already have teachers asking if they're coming back next year and coming in person because they want to meet us and they want to keep this program going. So I want to thank Xavier Oliver, who is the volunteer coordinator for Boys and Girls Clubs. Give a wave, Xavier. I want to thank him for his help. We threw him right into the fire and said, we want you to help with the screening and background checks and the training for the volunteers on this program. You probably didn't even know what Kiwanis was before all this, but now he knows. So being the great guy that he is, he's like, I'm in. And then we have wonderful volunteers that came through, not only through Kiwanis, but through Boys and Girls Club and some outside folks that we were able to gather. We started out with, I think, about 23 volunteers. By the time we kind of figured out the logistics with teachers and getting people connected, it did go down a little bit. So at the end of the day, we had 10 who were able to fully go through the process from beginning to end. And then with the classrooms, we had 149 students out of 249 who met their BUG goal this year, which is a 60% return. And we have one classroom, or Palmetto Elementary, Miss Tarpley's classroom. So if you're listening, Superintendent Saunders, you're going to find out what she's doing. But she had 100% achievement in her classroom. Every student, I think she has 18 students in her classroom, they all hit their bug goal. So how awesome is that for the fourth quarter to just round it right out and end off strong? So I want to thank the volunteers that were involved, and I'm going to read their names off. I know some of them are here with us today. I think we may have some that are online, but we have Sharon Barkhorst, Jack Powers, Carolyn Manson, Julie Ross, Caroline Ziv, Mary Foreman, Barbara Duncan, Lucy Makalos, and Mac Aldridge. Thank you guys so much for your help. And I do want to give an honorable mention to Miss Karen Carpenter as well as Betsy Banak, because both of them had committed as well to helping. And unfortunately, we just didn't quite get everybody connected. But the classrooms really enjoyed being part of this program. Last Friday, we had a celebration over at Manatee Elementary, and Mayor Brown came out to give the certificates to the kids. He signed every single one of them. And he walked around with Dr. V to each classroom, there were 5 total, and brought them their certificates and their little goodie bags, which have bug pencils and bookmarks and little plush toys and all kinds of fun stuff for them. All of the classrooms that participated got a pizza party. So, while we say we don't give everyone a trophy, we still thought, some of these kids were so close to meeting their goals. I mean, they were close. So having a pizza party was a way to recognize all of them for working hard and encouraging kids that if they didn't reach their goal, don't give up, try again next time, and they can do it. And so they had that event last Friday. This Friday, we have Palmetto Elementary and Rogers Elementary that will be having their celebration programs. And again, we've got both Mayor Brown as well as Mayor Bryant over in Palmetto, who are going to be participating in those celebrations as well. So it was an awesome, awesome start. I know it was not an easy thing to do this year, but I encourage you guys, if you are at all interested in getting involved in this next year, we won't start until after the first term because they have to get their report card first and figure out which grade they want to focus on before they get into that next semester. But we'll definitely keep it going. I have a feeling we're going to be hearing from more teachers that are going to be saying, when can I get involved in this? So just be ready. We're going to be looking for more volunteers. And I'll also tell you that if you loved being part of this program, stay involved with Xavier on some other awesome ways to get involved. I know the beginning part of getting, screenings and level 2 background checks is a bit of work. That's a good commitment of your time, right, Matt? But the awesome thing about that is once you've got that screening done, then you can go onto any school campus as part of the volunteer efforts that we're coordinating and be able to be part of that. Obviously, you can't just go on your own. We have to coordinate those things. But that investment of your time is so invaluable to our kids. And I know that they're going to want to continue doing these things, and hopefully it turns into some lifelong habits for them. So big round of applause for our awesome volunteers and our bug kids this year. And I believe I got through just about everything, other than one other cool thing I wanted to share with you all is that a couple weeks ago, we had the Boys and Girls Club Youth of the Year breakfast right here in this room. It was our first live event since COVID. It was awesome having a small group here and people online. But it's our 75th anniversary year this year. And part of that celebration is that we're having a pancake jamboree coming back this July on the 15th over at Lecon Field. And we will be celebrating 2 inductions into our Alumni Hall of Fame. Many of you know Mr. Willie Cooper, who grew up in our clubs and who just reached his 40th anniversary of being employed by Boys and Girls Clubs of Manatee County. There is no one else that's even close to that many years. I mean, he's just a club kid throughout. So we'll be celebrating him and inducting him into the Hall of Fame, as well as our very own Xavier Oliver, who has been involved in, I'm sorry, Xavier, not you. Let me start over. Omar Edwards, which Omar's first name is Xavier, for those of you that didn't know that. I'm really sorry. He's like, what? What? I just started working for you. What are you talking about? I'm sorry, Omar. If he hears this, I'll just apologize profusely. But Omar Edwards, who has been involved with the school district of Manatee County for many, many years. Many of you also know his mother, Lynette, who was a former superintendent and awesome, awesome person. He is being inducted into our Alumni Hall of Fame. So we're expecting a good crowd for this event. Tickets just are going on sale today at bgcmanatee.org. So you want to get online, get a ticket, come to the Pancake Jamboree. I know Brett Pollock is first in line because he just posts all the time about the fun they had with that and can't wait to be part of it. So that's going to be an awesome celebration coming up. And then the other thing I wanted to mention is at that breakfast that we had a couple weeks ago, we decided that our Community Partnership Award for 2021 came here to Bradenton Kiwanis because you were there at the very start. You started this Boys and Girls Club. It was the Boys Club in 1946, as you've heard Gilbert talk about. And so you all are being recognized by us. And thanks for all you've done for the Boys and Girls Club. So thank you, Kiwanis, and have an awesome afternoon.